Most people don't realize that daily life in France, especially Paris, is a far cry from the postcard-perfect images or romantic films many imagine. Americans often expect lively streets bustling with cafes opening at first light. But in central Paris, even main shopping boulevards remain quiet until well into the morning. The reality for newcomers includes layers of strict formality, slow-moving administrative systems, and frustrations alongside the iconic art, wine, and scenery. Many arrive expecting easy conversation in crowded bars, only to find that most tables are reserved for established groups of friends, and new arrivals rarely receive an invitation to join in. This program examines the real story behind settling down in France, covering everything from paperwork and work culture to building friendships and navigating the local approach to food. It's broken down into the 10 most important differences Americans encounter in everyday French life. All insights here are drawn from detailed research, expat forums, testimonials, and documentary evidence, aiming to strip away cliches and reveal a direct, unfiltered perspective on life in France. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe. Number 10. Lowrust Culture. Visiting a bakery or post office in Paris quickly reveals a formal approach that surprises many Americans. Where casual greetings and small talk are common in the US, French interactions always begin with a formal bonjour and clear respect for social boundaries. France functions as a low-trust society. Outsiders aren't welcomed quickly, and making friends, especially for newcomers, is often a slow process. In big cities, and even in places like sunny Nice, it can take 6 months or longer before locals start to open up. Friendships in France rarely start with a quick chat in a supermarket, but once trust develops, these relationships tend to last for decades. This reserved approach also extends to dating and social environments. At local bars, groups sit close together but rarely mix with outsiders, making spontaneous conversation unusual. For Americans, the emphasis on formal boundaries feels unfamiliar at first, and the early weeks or months can be isolating. Yet by understanding the social rituals and showing persistence, it becomes possible to build deeper, more lasting connections than is usually expected in the US. Number 9. Slow tech adoption. Innovation and speed have long defined the American consumer experience. In contrast, France takes a slower path when adopting new technologies. Official paperwork is usually handled on paper, and many common administrative tasks require in-person visits. Government websites often lag behind British or American standards. English is commonly spoken in central Paris tourism areas, but in smaller towns and beyond city centers, French is essential for daily life. The cautious approach to technology results in stability and a consistent focus on quality. For instance, France protected its publishing industry by resisting the rapid rise of self-publishing platforms, preventing Amazon's dominance from sweeping the market as quickly as elsewhere. The Greater Paris Project is a further example. Major infrastructure improvements have stretched over decades, reflecting a preference for long-term planning. This deliberate pace brings challenges. Basic tasks, like opening a bank account or setting up utilities, require more time and patience compared to the US. For most Americans who expect same-day results and rapid digital service, it stands in stark contrast to what they know. Number 8. Work-life balance. In the US, status and fulfillment are often linked to long hours and quick advancement at work. In France, priorities differ. The French work to live and not the other way around. Stereotypes about extended breaks and long lunches have some truth, but overlook the intense focus brought to work hours and the strong protection of personal time. 5 weeks of paid vacation each year and regular 2-week breaks in schools are standard across the country. These benefits come with trade-offs. Salaries tend to be lower on average than in the US, but job security is stronger, and healthcare costs are not a personal burden. Permanent contracts make it easier to plan for housing or financial commitments. However, the same protective laws can create barriers for entrepreneurs and small business owners. Unlike in the US, where starting a new business is associated with independence and ambition, in France, it can be met with skepticism or suspicion, except for certain celebrated professions like chefs or writers. Americans moving to France often find this shift in values disorienting, especially if they expect risk-taking to be admired. Number 7. Administrative hurdles. French bureaucracy is well known for its complexity. Tasks that Americans complete easily online, or via a 24-hour helpline, often require piles of paperwork, in-person appointments, and official stamps in France. Securing a visa, opening a business, or registering for healthcare all demand patience and strict documentation. For small business owners, the combined effort of regulations and required fees adds real cost and time to their projects. Even after success, many find the system unending. Adjusting can be difficult, and the feeling of frustration is a common reaction. Over time, however, those living in France often learn to accept progress in small steps, celebrating something as simple as receiving a needed document after several weeks of waiting. Number 6. Daily routine shift. Americans arriving in Paris early in the morning are often surprised to find empty sidewalks, closed cafes, and bakeries just switching on their ovens. Unlike American or British cities where mornings bustle with activity, French daily rhythms start and end later. Stores often close for several hours in the afternoon, and meals are spaced farther apart. Finding food between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. can be difficult. In August, many Paris neighborhoods close almost entirely as families travel for summer vacations. Sundays are also quiet, with most grocery stores and retailers closed outside larger cities. These changes highlight the value placed on rest, family, and leisure. For Americans used to convenience or early schedules, adapting can be a challenge, but many come to appreciate the slower pace and quieter moments that mark French daily life. Number 5. Healthcare security. In the United States, the high cost of medical care is a constant worry, with expenses for even simple emergencies quickly adding up. French residents experience something different. Healthcare is universal, with small and capped copays, and most prescription drugs cost a fraction of what Americans pay. Booking an appointment is straightforward, often managed through apps like Doctolib, where a typical doctor visit in Paris costs around 25 euros. Hospital stays for serious illness are usually covered almost entirely by national insurance. This system eliminates the threat of financial ruin from a medical emergency and brings peace of mind to many. Americans who move to France often describe this new sense of security as life-changing, leading to more frequent preventive care and far less anxiety over medical costs. Number 4. Food traditions. French grocery stores place a premium on simple, quality ingredients. Fresh bread, cheese, charcuterie, and seasonal fruit are available at affordable prices. For around 5 to 10 euros, it's possible to enjoy a picnic fit for a spot along the Seine. French food traditions prioritize flavor over excess sugar or spice, and processed snacks are less common. Finding items such as spicy salsa or strong hot sauces often requires a special search, as many immigrant cuisines are adapted to milder tastes. Meal times are considered events, with lunches and dinners lasting multiple courses and often extending over 3 hours. Americans accustomed to brief, informal meals may find this custom unfamiliar at first, but eventually many come to view it as one of the highlights of everyday life. Snacks, especially American-style chips or sweets, are less available and rarely match those from U.S. supermarkets. Number 3. Transportation system. France's central position in Europe makes travel between countries straightforward. High-speed TGV trains connect Paris to Lyon, Marseille, and Bordeaux in under 3 hours. An early booked train ticket from Paris to Marseille often costs about 50 euros. Within Paris, public transit is extensive, with metro lines, buses, and bike paths covering almost all neighborhoods. Green initiatives and changes in commuting habits have helped decrease air pollution over the past 10 years. Americans from post-war suburbs, where owning a car is necessary, are often surprised by how easy it is to live without one in France. City dwellers routinely rely on public transport, and with parking rates in central Paris at 3 to 4 euros per hour, car ownership becomes less attractive. The result is a different tempo and lifestyle compared to the deep dependence on cars found in many U.S. cities. Number 2. Contradictory attitudes. France's reputation abroad often highlights both its tradition of warmth and its formality, but real-life experience shows sharp contradictions. Parisians can be described as distant or unwelcoming, yet the process of integrating into any French community proceeds slowly, regardless of location. What often feels cold to Americans is really a way of protecting close-knit social networks. Attitudes towards business are another area where expectations are often challenged. France honors chefs, philosophers, and designers, but new small business owners can find themselves navigating skepticism and a web of regulations even as local fairs celebrate artisanship. These double standards are central to understanding French culture. It's not about keeping outsiders away, but about balancing tradition with careful adaptation to new ideas. Number 1. Mindset shift required. For Americans settling in France, habits built up over decades are often tested. Adjusting to late morning starts, slow-moving processes, formality, and meals that center conversation rather than speed demands real change. Many struggle in the early months. Reports show a large share of expats eventually return to the U.S. within a year, disappointed by realities that didn't fit the dream. But for those who remain, A different rhythm and new values eventually emerge. A measured approach to time, a stronger focus on relationships, and lasting protection in areas like healthcare. These may seem like small details, but they redefine the sense of belonging and quality of life, proving that life in France is about far more than its scenery or cuisine. Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.